So welcome everybody to the webinar for the Disney method. If you come on later on while I'm doing this part, please put yourself on mute and I'll remind you of that if I hear somebody. So Walt Disney, he's like one of my favorite people in the whole world. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like 5 years old and I went to Disneyland and my brain fell out of my head. And then 50 years later, I went to Disney World and had a similar experience. One of my most fond childhood memories is watching Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color, which was kind of cool because we had black and white TV. And one year we went to my grandmother's house and she had color TV. It was just like insane, like what you could experience doing that. Walt Disney was a really, really interesting guy, and he used his own creativity to create 3 different roles that we're going to be talking about. And one of them is the dreamer or the creator. The second one is the realist or the planner. And the third is the critic. And we're going to be talking about this at length today. And I really hope that you find this interesting. So my big question is, are you ready to tap into your inner creativity and achieve some extraordinary results? My name is Michael Harris. I'm the founder of Renegade Transformation, and I would really like to explain the importance of the Disney method to specific groups, including NLPers, hypnotists, therapists, change agents, and the whole array of professionals that are in business and creativity and media. And let's just kind of jump in and explore why this transformative approach resonates so deeply with these different groups. Now, for NLPers, these practitioners seek to improve and understand human communication and behavior patterns. Okay, the Disney method is going to offer them a real powerful framework to tap into not only their creative potential and generate innovative solutions, but also by adopting these roles of the dreamer, the realist, and the critic, they can help people unlock fresh perspectives and help them break through limiting beliefs. Now, hypnotists, as a hypnotist, I can tell you the power of the subconscious mind to facilitate transformation, not only for yourself, but for other people, it is amazing. Using the Disney method also gives you an opportunity to use these same 3 components to unlock deeper levels of imagination and empower their clients to actually envision different outcomes in their life. Therapists also do the same thing. They do it in a different way, but they can help their customers explore their perspectives, reframe their experiences, and develop some real innovative coping mechanisms. Change agents is kind of an interesting term because it runs the whole spectrum of people who do allopathic and homeopathic medicine, as well as massage therapists and yoga instructors and acupuncturists and energy workers. These all use and facilitate change, and using these methods can help foster a whole culture of creativity, change the status quo, and facilitate more effective problem solving. And then the last group, they're in business, they're in education, they're in any creative endeavor. Professionals can leverage this approach to stimulate and generate innovation and new ideas. We don't have to do the same thing over and over again. Just because your great granddaddy did that, we can create brand new strategies. Here's a couple of examples of how this might work. So imagine that you're on a team That could be entrepreneurs, it could be uh, a corporate startup idea. When you apply the Disney method to foster innovation and bring your vision to life, the dreamer is going to encourage you to think big. Imagine bold, groundbreaking concepts, new products, new services, new delivery mechanisms that might revolutionize their industry. Personal development, we talked about a moment ago, is, you know, in this particular mechanism, the dreamer allows them to, you know, set ambitious goals and embrace their deepest desire. The realist is going to help them create a functional, realistic, attainable plan, breaking down those steps needed to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. And the critic is going to offer constructive self-reflection and going to identify those areas of improvement and provide guidance for personal development. So let's pause for a moment and address some challenges, because there are a couple of challenges, there's actually three in the Disney method. One of them comes from a lack of inspiration. You know, we can get bogged down in our everyday, daily, whatever it is. And sometimes coming up with creative ideas can seem elusive, or your creativity feels stagnant. And to overcome this challenge, one of the things I'm going to recommend is actively seek inspiration from everywhere, from different sources, talk to different people, do different stuff, learn different things, and then take those ideas and apply them backward into whatever it is that you're doing. Here's an example. Expose yourself to art or literature or music or even nature. Go to the museum, attend a workshop, or engage in a stimulating conversation with somebody who does something completely different than what you do. You might consider keeping a creativity journal where you just jot down your ideas. So we're going to get to this at the tail end of this, but when you're jotting down ideas, I'm going to ask you to go shh, and don't talk to anybody until you nurture those ideas long enough for them to grow. Now, the second challenge in the Disney method that people have is they have this fear of failure. Okay, fear of failure can be paralyzing. It can hinder your exploration of, you know, some big idea. And here's a couple of tips for overcoming that mindset. Okay, one of the things that you might want to consider is start really small. Break your idea after you've created it. Break your idea into manageable steps or even prototypes, and develop some type of like a generative approach where you give yourself an opportunity to have, okay, it's like, I'm going to try this 50 times. You know, think of Thomas Edison. You know, he did not create a light bulb on the first round. He did it around and around and around and around. The other thing that you can do is you can seek feedback and support from trusted members. And we're going to break down these different parts here and stuff, but make sure that the people that you're talking to are going to be supportive, even if they don't understand what you're talking about. And then the other thing that can like really hamper your thinking is tunnel vision. When you become overly focused on a single idea or a solution, you're limiting your ability to explore alternative possibilities. And then the other thing that you might consider doing would be engaging in lateral thinking exercises. Now, these could be solving puzzles or participating in creative problem-solving activities. This is going to help break up this, like, I have to get this idea done right away, and I have 3 minutes in order to change the world. Give yourself an opportunity to let your ideas develop. Now let's talk about the top benefits of the Disney method. One of them is enhanced creativity. The second one is strategic decision making. And the third is going to be continuous improvement. And one of the things when I went to Disneyland when I was a kid, and we went to this, and they still have it in both places. They have It's a Small World, and animatronics did not exist prior to It's a Small World, and they were trying to figure out how do they get these robots, for lack of a better term, how do they get them to work? How do they get them to begin singing when your little boat comes by? How do you get them to all work together? And they had to actually use the Disney method to figure that out, because that technology did not exist until it did. So I want you to embrace these benefits of creativity and strategic decision making and continuous improvement. And we've had a couple of people come in since then, so I'm just going to reiterate what I was talking about. There are three major problems with the Disney method. One of them is lack of inspiration. The second is fear of failure. And the third is tunnel vision. The three benefits of the Disney method are enhanced creativity and strategic decision-making and continuous improvement. So I got a question for you. And here's my question. Would you prefer to continue struggling with your challenges, or would you like to experience the benefits of the Disney method? So we're going to, I'm going to pause here and ask, and just, come off of mute.
Okay.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Hi. We definitely want to experience the Disney method. When you say the creativity journal, I just go, wow,
Yes.
because I think so big, Michael, that sometimes it's hard to bring it in.
Yeah, well, when we drill down into the back, we're going to get started on that in a second. But let me lay it out for you, short version. According to the Disney method, in its perfect form, you've got your creator dreamer over here. From a corporate standpoint, this is the cool office. It's the Google campus. Okay, and you've got unlimited Skittles, and you can play air hockey all you want. Yeah, all that other stuff. All right. And this is where they create ideas. On another part of the property is the realist or the planner stage. Now, it is extremely important for you to understand that the realist or the planner may not in any way, shape, or form criticize the dream. Their job is to create a plan. So let's pretend for a moment, Lori, that you're the CEO of XYZ Corporation, and you go to your vice president of sales and you say, Bob, I want you to take this product and I want a 5% higher return this quarter. Bob's not going to argue with you. He's gonna go to his team and say, okay,
it looks like a friend of Mike.
do you like working here? Okay, then let's come up with a plan to sell 5%, 10%, 50% more of these. And it works the same way with products. When you bring in this widget that they've never seen before, their job is now to create a delivery mechanism for this widget that's never existed on the planet before. And then finally, at the end of the property, on the other side of the moat where the alligators are, is this ramshackle shack with a single wire and a lipo and a wooden chair. There's no air conditioning. There's no heat. You got to go outside if you want to go potty. And that's where the critic gets to live. And the critic, his or her job is only to criticize the plan. They can shoot holes in the plan. They can point out where this plan won't work. Walt Disney had a brother. Okay. And his brother was in charge of the dough. And Walt Disney would come up with these incredible ideas. Oh, like Disney World. And he's like, we can't afford that. And I love Walt's answer. Figure it out.
Figure it out. Exactly.
It's like, your job is to figure it out. Your job is to figure out how to pay for this.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. That's my favorite. That is my favorite thing to say. Is okay, well, let's figure it out. But the critic, you'll notice, is in a shack on the other side of the moat, the one with the alligators in it, and they don't get to interact with the dreamer ever. And now let's say that the critic does come up with something that is really, really useful and that the realist or the planner needs to know about. It's like, oh, by the way that you're going to execute this, we'll all be in prison. Oh, okay. So they're going to take that portion and they're going to take it back to the dreamer, and you say, we need to come up with a different delivery system for the plan. And they'll dream up whatever that goes back to the planner, and then back to the critic is like, okay, we don't have to wear stripes. Let's carry on. And learning how to do this without a team can be a challenge. But yeah, this brings me to my favorite other person, Gandhi. Gandhi was an attorney. Gandhi was an attorney. He was also Hindu. He was also Indian. And he had, when he gave a speech, when he was talking to whomever, he would write his speech. And I don't know if they recorded it or if he just did this mentally, but he would sit in 3 different chairs and he would listen as the British would listen. He would listen how the Hindus would listen. He would listen how the Muslims would hear it, and he would adjust his message until all 3 could hear it.
Wow.
So having that mental construct, if you guys want to do your creative stuff, great, do your creative stuff.
Yeah.
When you want to plan, go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
And plan. And when you want to,
Yes.
and when you want to critique it, because I know you live in Canada, take your coat off, go outside and spend as much time out there as you want to while it's 20 below, and we'll see how much time you'll spend critiquing your plan.
That's really smart.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so any questions so far?
Well, this is amazing. Just hearing
I don't
those
think-
3.
Oh, yes.
Just hearing those 3 places, the creator, dreamer, the realist to the planner to the critic. Wow, how powerful that is.
You need to send Robert Dilts, who is one of the co-founders of NLP, a nice basket of fruit, because he modeled this. And when I heard about this, I was just like, whoa, just amazing. And I'm still amazed at how many people have not heard of this.
I know.
But I also love that to do those 3 things in 3 different areas, right? Because that is,
Have you heard of this company? There's this little funky company. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, called Apple.
yeah.
Yeah, this is how they do what they do.
Okay.
And,
Wow, I
and
love that.
Steve Jobs, we'll just pay attention to this part right here.
Yeah.
This guy
Steve
was a
Jobs.
serious innovator and,
Yes.
He's a
and
typesetter.
absolutely positively kept his critics away from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so much so that when they fired him, he started Pixar,
So,
and they
yeah.
had to
Yeah.
hire him back because
Yeah.
nobody could do what he was doing because he didn't tell them how he was doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's brave on, shall we?
Dream on. Love it.
All right, so I'm going to now we're going to delve into a little bit a deeper dive on the dreamer, on the
So
planner,
cool.
and on the critic. Now that you have the 30,000-foot view, the dreamer is going to encourage you to tap into your imagination, suspend all practical limitations. You know, if I hear somebody say, well, let's be realistic, they have to go. They are
Yeah.
not allowed in my creative meeting. They get to live on the other side of the campus. So some practical tips for your dreamers: find a quiet place. Let your mind relax. Let your mind wander. Consider using visualization techniques or engaging in activities that inspire your creativity, drawing, writing, listening to music. And while you're brainstorming, whether it's with yourself or your partner, write down every single idea, no matter how wild, no matter how unconventional. Do not censor at all. And the other thing that I want you to do, or I want you to think about, is embracing inspiration from different sources. You never know where inspiration is going to come from. Is it going to be from a book, a movie, nature, conversations? Allow any and all different perspectives to fuel your imagination. So let's say for a second, you're going to design a new product. And I happen to know that you guys are designing a new product. Okay. You might imagine futuristic features or innovative functionalities or unconventional design in your product. Maybe you just don't want to do it the same way that everybody else does. Just let your imagination run wild, write everything down, and just for whatever period of time that you have this creative process in place, just let it keep right on going. I want you to think of this like a painter. You're or a sculptor. You're standing in front of your painting or your board, or you've got this big piece of marble, and you start chipping on it to let free whatever is living under there. And we'll pause for a second, take a breath. Now we're going to shift over to the realist / planner. The realist represents a practical and strategic aspect of the business method. This step involves analyzing the feasibility of the plan or plans, devising actionable plans, and outlining whatever necessary steps that need to happen in order for this vision to, come into the real world. And some practical tips for this would be: assess the feasibility, evaluate. Okay, you're evaluating the plan, you're evaluating a plan for how to make this happen. Consider things like time, budget, resources, expertise. And you identify any of those potential obstacles or challenges, you can just write them down. The next thing that I want you to do is divide your vision into smaller, manageable, either tasks or milestones that allows you to create a roadmap. Now, from my NLP and hypnosis training, I'm also going to recommend that you start with the end in mind. So what I want you to do is, and with the exception of taking ayahuasca or mushrooms, I want you to project yourself out to the end of your project where you're standing on the other side of the finish line and look backwards so that you can see the path beginning to formulate in front of you, whether they're stepping stones or it's a path. If you've ever seen the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance, if you haven't seen it, I can save you 2.5 hours. At the end of the movie where they're looking at he's got to make this shot, everything goes away. And this green path of his ball shows up. And if you play golf long enough, you can actually see that. The last part would be to share your plans with a trusted individual. Oh, like the one to your left, who can provide valuable insights and perspectives that you may not have. So an example would be that as a real issue, analyze the technical feasibility, production costs, market demand, competitor landscape. You've created a detailed project plan. You've done your market research, you've done your prototyping, you've done your testing. And this is going to be kind of like an architect. You've got your finished product. That's what they do first. But then you have to do detailed blueprints so you know what materials, what the structural integrity is, what the building codes are, what the licenses that you're going to need in order for that to happen. Now we're going to take another breath. And we're going to move to the critic. The critic, first of all, they're not the bad guy. They're going to represent, or he or she is going to represent the analytical and evaluative aspect of the Disney method. This is going to be objectively assessing your ideas, identifying potential flaws or areas that need improvement or refinement in your plan. Your critic is going to encourage you to evaluate your ideas from a critical standpoint, considering strengths and weaknesses. And this is about refining and enhancing your plan through constructive feedback and self-reflection, rather than that's stupid, it'll never work. That's not helpful. So after you've created your plan and you've created your dream, you've gone through the planning, now you have to paddle across the moat, watching out for the alligators, and you got to step into the shed with a single light bulb. And I want you to evaluate your plan with a critical eye. You're looking for gaps. You're looking for risk. You're looking for areas where your plan could be strengthened. Most people don't think in those terms. Okay, here's a plan. Is there a way I can make my plan stronger, more efficient, more effective, more automated? And then you want to seek input from people who have different viewpoints. These could be colleagues, they could be mentors, they could even be potential customers. And embracing constructive criticism is a skill. Using it as an opportunity for growth is also another skill worth developing. Are you guys familiar with the Toastmasters sandwich? I saw somebody shake their head no. Okay, Toastmaster sandwich is you get up, you give a speech, and this is how you get your feedback. You're going to get your feedback like this. I really liked this part. This part right here I think that you could do some improvement. And this is how I think that you could improve. And then the top of your sandwich is, this is what I loved about your speech. And if more people would do a Toastmaster sandwich when they're giving feedback, people would talk to them more. So let's think about this, okay? And we're going to go back to your product design, your widget. As the critic, you're going to evaluate the initial design for usability, the functionality, and the market appeal. And this will apply in your business as well. Identify areas where the product could be simplified, where it could be enhanced, and where it could be made more user-friendly based on user feedback or industry best practices. And here's something interesting. I used to have a client who, he was an investment banker and he wrote business plan. This is a guy that you could give him an idea and he's like, okay, I'll call you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And the following morning at 8 a.m., he would have a completely written business plan. Yeah, this is a guy who played options on the stock market for fun and was, you know, a quadrillionaire. Okay, but he taught me something really, really interesting. For example, let's say that you have a product or service and you're going to have this column, you know, column A is what you're selling. And the easiest analogy is, because I was a personal trainer at the time and he used that analogy, is I was selling weight training. I was selling education. And additionally, I sold t-shirts. And additionally, I sold weight belts and gloves. And I constantly had people in my office trying to get me to sell supplements. I never sold supplements because, you know, no. But so you're going to have column A, which are all of the obvious things. Column B is all of the stuff that you never, ever thought of when you came up with your original business, but you started adding those things in because it's part of your business. And column C is this column of things that you never, ever would have thought of in your entire life that are part of your business. That, I'll think of something completely random. Okay, you got somebody coming into a personal training facility and you tell them to go walking and they hate walking, so you go, great, okay, why don't you go bike riding instead? Great, so they go bike riding. And then they decide that they love it so much that they're going to buy a GoPro so that they can film it. Okay, and you just go to Amazon and put GoPros on your website because that. Okay, so A, B, and C. So think in terms of whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm not really familiar with your business, but I know that you guys are doing something. But is it group or is it individual?
It's individuals within groups or teams within business organizations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be column A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, column B might be somebody's wife wants your services, but that's not part of your original business plan, but I'm pretty sure you'd take their money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then column C could be, you know, a customer's wife's cousin, Myrna, who has a son that goes to Penn State. And now you need, and now you have Zoom. Okay, as I was thinking traditional business.
Okay. Yeah, right.
And,
Yeah.
But you can see how if you brainstorm column A and column B, and you leave column C open for all kinds of nifty little things. Like one of the things that may or may not be in your column C is like, you have a finite business. But what if somebody from a competing company said, you guys are awesome. Would you consult?
Yeah.
So this is about Mambo creativity and just like Katie bar the door. There is just there aren't any limits.
Makes sense.
There's just
No
no
limits.
limits. And we live in a world that you guys don't know me very well, but I can tell you flat out, if I've got somebody who's going to interrupt my thought pattern and say, let's be realistic here. Okay. I'm done. I am done. And I will just tell them, you're in the wrong position. And when I am interested in your feedback about my plan, I will contact you. But I am adamant that the critic and the dreamer never, ever collide. So that is the Disney method in a nutshell. If you guys, as usual, you've been to my seminars before. If you want the ultimate guide for the Disney method, guess who has one? Okay. Okay. So do you guys have any questions or comments or interesting stories that you know, what kind of ahas did you have?
I can give my ahas right off the bat, because as you're talking about the dreamer, I have my friend sitting here and he always says to me when I have conversations, his name is Alvin.
Hey, Alvin,
he's my First Nation elder friend and I love him to death. And when I'll be talking to him, he goes, I just got witness. I always get goosebumps. So as you were talking to the creator dreamer, I was just like, oh, someone gets me.
Yeah.
But then when you went into the realist, I go, okay, like when people do that to me, I'm going like, get out of my face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really that nice about it. But I realized that I fall into critic, because I did that the other day while we were working on a website thing. And I said to Sylvia, that's not a bad thing. I kind of beat myself up over it going, that wasn't very nice of me. But I realized that I came in as the critic saying, we don't have that expertise. We need to find it because we're wasting time, man.
Yeah. That's not bad feedback.
No.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
But one of the things that I would like you to do is differentiate, in which you go, okay, what mode are we in?
Oh.
And when you're in that mode, you're in that mode. Okay? Because it's very difficult to play badminton when you're in a swimming pool. Okay?
Right.
You want to play badminton? Great. And if you want to be in a swimming pool, great.
What mode are we in? I like that, because then
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings.
No.
So you go ahead. No. I butt in. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't talking, but just even breaking it down, like just with the Disney plan, right? Like the dreamer, the planner, and then the critic, like even that is a breakdown for us. Because we're always so much out there, and having that broken down was okay. That simplifies things as well.
So Michael, my question is, do you work with a team of 2 with the Disney method to take the business to the new level?
You can.
You can?
Sure.
It doesn't have to be one person.
No. Remember, first rule, no rules.
No rules.
Yeah. Second rule.
Pretty good, hey, Alvin?
Second rule, please refer back to rule 1. Okay. And if you have someone on your team that is naturally analytical, leave them out of your creative meetings.
Yeah,
okay.
Leave them out.
If you have someone who is a natural planner, leave them out of your creative meetings until you have the ultra mega mambo widget that you want. And you go, here's the widget. Your job, should you decide to accept it, is figure out how do we deliver this widget.
Yeah, that makes so
And-
much more sense. Just
and
more clarity.
discipline, and I'm a force of one. So
Yeah.
disciplining me into this is that.
The heat's not on. Well, this is it. This is
Yeah.
knowing where you are as one.
Yes, and I actually have 3 places in my house.
To take you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got to remember that.
Yeah. And like if you actually hung around me, you would really worry about me, because when it's time for me to be creative,
Yeah.
first thing I do is go take a nap. And when I wake up, I write everything down. And when I want to think about something, I have this awesome chair in my living room, and that's my spot. And there's a notebook there. And you know, I live in Texas, so currently, let's see. Oh, it's only 95 right now, but with our heat index, it's 108. So if you want to critique something, I would invite you out to my patio. And we can stay out there as long as you want, which will be about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Like
Yeah.
us in the winter.
Yeah. And you know,
So much sense.
making real clear differentiation is going to be your key. And Lori, it sounds like you and I could hang out and we could just like stay in la la land.
Yeah.
And there's no delivery, but we can see it, we can feel it, we can touch it, but no one else can. Okay. My suggestion is, don't be selfish. Let other people experience your dream.
Oh,
She does. She does.
Right. So I learned another thing about you, Lori. We need to keep Kleenex nearby, because when you really get stuff.
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
let other people. Oh,
Yeah. But it's like, you know, you two obviously have a tremendous gift. And when you put it together, now you have like nuclear fission, and you can power the world with it. I'm going to finish up, and just like every other webinar that I'm going to do, I'm going to remind you that I think everyone should join Renegade Transformations. And if you guys are ever interested in that, please do not hesitate to call. And if you've ever seen any of my videos, there he is. I actually did a video on Greg. Greg is one of my happy customers.
Yes, very much so.
you
Cool.
look pretty happy.
Greg, what did you think, sir?
Good stuff. No, it actually keys into a lot of the things we've talked about before. But the context to put in the Disney method really helped, I think, because we talked about
you manage other humans.
Mhm.
Okay, and frequently you have told me that, and it was kind of like, you know, oh goody, I get to go to yet another team meeting.
Mhm.
And think about this in terms of, think about the different people that you have. You have creative people, you have planning people, you have critical people. It would be awesome to separate those knuckleheads out into different teams where you can get stuff done.
And we have, actually, I work in IT, and so I find that I don't have enough creative people. Everyone wants to put constraints on everything, and I end up being the creative person, but I'm not not the person who should be doing the creating. I should be trying to manage. And so thinking through this, I'm starting to realize there's some gaps that would help us move faster and better and have better solutions if we didn't have everyone trying to figure out how to do it and then say no, it won't work. We need more people on the
So
creative
you've
side.
got too many realists on your team.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So later on in life, when I put this video out, you are more than welcome. Show this to your boss,
Will do.
because this is how Disney, Apple, and all of these innovators, this is how they do it.
Yep.
So thanks everybody for being on the call today. I'm going to stop the recording.